Look, if you decide that you can help everybody, you end up helping nobody. Have you ever ran ads and got flooded with leads, but then every single one of them is broke? Or you get on the phone with them and you find out they're just not as dedicated as you thought. They just make up excuses about why it's not a good time, why they can't afford it. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how you can put filtration in your ads to attract only people who are willing to pay a premium price. My name's Chris. I have a 7-figure coaching business online, sold to one of the hardest market, broke musicians. So if I can be successful selling to them, you could definitely be successful in your industry. Look, if you decide that you can help everybody, you end up helping nobody. The first thing you got to do is choose a specific audience to target. For a complete stranger across the world on the internet to trust you, you got to be able to relate to them. And relatability comes in minor details. When you're too broad and you're trying to speak to multiple audiences with one message, you end up leaving out those minor details because you're attempting to relate to everybody. The small details is where a true bond is built. You spoke to another guitarist and you're just like, man, after years, doesn't it just suck that you just build these crazy calluses on your fingers? A swim instructor isn't going to know what you're talking about. So if you try to help everybody, you can't get into those minor details that make you relatable. It's the difference between sitting across the table and having a one-on-one conversation with your friend versus standing on a podium trying to relate to an entire crowd with a keynote speech. People build a stronger bond with a one-on-one communication because you can get into really small little details that nobody else would get. So try and get that specific about who you're going after. The most successful business owners know exactly what their audience is thinking, what they eat every day, where they're at every day, where they breathe, where they sleep. They know everything. The more you know about your audience, the stronger and more compelling of a message you can put across. So know who you're selling to, and you also want to put a lot of thought in who you choose, because you could sell the same thing to a different audience and it becomes worth more. It also increases the likelihood that they're going to buy from you. If I was a weight loss coach and helped somebody lose 50 pounds, that's my offer. If I tried to sell that offer to a CrossFit athlete, they're gonna be like, that might be nice. It'd be cool, but I'm already in shape. I'm already working hard enough. I already have the mentality to do it. I took that same offer and sold it to somebody who was an obese person that is about to have a heart attack and die. This offer becomes way more valuable to that person because they are in dire need compared to the CrossFit athlete. It's more urgent, they will pay more, they are more desperate for it, they are less likely to achieve it without you. When you choose your audience, think about how desperate are they for the solution? Who do you like spending time with the most? Who has more of a buying power to be able to pay you? And who has the mindset that's willing to invest and make the changes to get the result? Because if they get the result, they become a happy client and they spread the word and they can't shut up about your business, and that brings you more clients. You can start narrow now and you can expand later. If you were specific about who you go after right now, you're not locked into just helping them forever. Think about it. If you aimed narrow, helped that specific group of people, you would get paid, you'd start making more money, which means you have more ammo and you have more chances at taking shots at a wider audience. If you have $5 right now to spend on ads, would you spread it across multiple audiences? If you took that $5, targeted one specific type of person, that brought you $500 more. Now you have $500 to be able to widen the market you're going after. So just know, because you're specific, you're not locked in for life. You can grow and expand once you have more resources. Here's a few action steps. Choose your audience based on what was mentioned and find out what they label themselves as. Not what you call them, but what they call themselves. When you call out what they identify as in your ad, their ears will perk up. It's just like when you hear your name being shouted across the street. Even if you were just mindlessly walking, your ears would perk up if you heard your name. Secondly, think about what their biggest problem is right now. What's something that they have to fix right now? The more urgent it is, the more likely they're going to pay you, and the more likely they're going to pay you more and now. Even if you chose the right audience, broke leads are still going to seep into your ecosystem unless you do some subconscious qualifying. So the next part is the most important if you want to remove all the bad leads and just be left with the people who are serious and ready to buy now. Do you ever have any inside jokes with your best friends? Like you and your buddies are in the corner in a room full of people and you guys are just dying, cracking up, but everyone else is looking at you like, what is wrong with these people? Apply that, but to the problems of your ideal client. Only a specific group of people should understand the problem that you're talking about. In marketing, they teach you to talk about pain points and problems of your audience. But again, you should talk only about specific problems that you run into at a certain level where you've put in a certain amount of effort and time towards trying to achieve a goal. Reason being is because the more time that you've committed to something, the more of an urge you have to fix any issues that come along the way. You want to choose problems to talk about that doesn't even make sense to everybody else. This is an example of something broad. You want to become a millionaire, work online, have freedom, and work wherever you want to. This is going to attract a bunch of people that don't want to work, beginners, intermediate, some advanced people. It's going to attract everybody. It's going to leave a bunch of noise in your world. But if I was specific about the problem and said, doesn't it feel like a full-time job just trying to learn all these tax loopholes to try to preserve the money that you already spent decades on working to earn? Somebody who's in a W-2, working a job, or still learning how to build wealth doesn't have that problem. They're not spending all day learning tax loopholes. It's only when you've hit a certain level, once you've made all that money, that's when that becomes a problem. So that's a nuanced problem you only understand once you've hit a certain level. I would choose that problem over the first one that I mentioned. Because if you haven't made millions already, you don't know what that problem feels like. You're just going to keep scrolling through social media. And that's what you want. You want the people who don't understand to just keep scrolling, and you want to attract just the people who do understand. So think of it like inside jokes with your best friends, but it's inside problems with your audience. But a lot of business owners do one thing in their ads that are pushing away some of the best clients. You don't want to just say problem, you want to describe it. Most ads that I've seen from coaches are just them telling you problem or telling you what your situation is by listing problems and qualifications. So while that's better than not filtering people at all, sometimes it can be triggering for people because they think you're just coming after their money. I've seen ads that say you have to make at least 6 figures. Are you having trouble getting leads? You just end up sounding like every other ad because you're just listing out problems. Instead, you should describe the nuances of what it's like living with that problem. Again, think of minor details you would never even know unless you tried. Because if you knew those problems, this proves to strangers that you understand the problem on a very deep level. This is how you build trust instantly with somebody who doesn't know you. Because if they're listening to you, in their mind, they're thinking, how do you even know all these details if you haven't been through this already? And if you can describe it so well, they're going to automatically assume that you have some kind of solution to it. That's when a true client relationship is born. Believe me, this is the best way to build trust with a complete stranger who doesn't even know you exist. Many people have paid me within 24 hours of finding out about my existence. That means 24 hours ago, they didn't even know I was on planet Earth or that I was any type of life form. And within that 24 hours, they gave me thousands of dollars. Here's the biggest takeaway from this part. In order to not sound like every other advertisement, you want to describe the nuances of living with that problem. You want to filter out bad leads, not just with your words, but filter them out by their lack of understanding the problem you're talking about. Sometimes us business owners think that our problem is getting leads, running ads properly. None of that matters unless you have something valuable to sell and you're charging enough money. Check out this video to make sure that you know you're charging enough, and if you're not, it'll show you how. Don't forget to hit subscribe. If you want me to help you grow your high-ticket coaching business, I'm going to leave a link in the description to book a call. I'll see you in the next video.